So, when we talk about catamarans, we mostly think of those the pontoon boats that you see running around the bays in the areas where I grew up down in South Texas, Corpus Christi. Actually, the catamarans were probably 14 to 16 foot. I think that's where I learned how to sail. Well, Steve is really taking it to a whole nother level. There are the catamarans for you that know these that are the big catamaran yachts. But these are the big yachts. They're like 2, 3, 4 bedroom yachts that are catamarans. And then he's completely redesigned them. He's doing some things that's very, very exciting with those catamarans. Okay, let's welcome Steve Salani to the show, CEO of Quad Marine. We've been talking a little bit about your new innovative design, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Good. I'm happy you could join us. I was just telling them that technology sometimes gets in the way of when we're doing the phone-in calls. But I'm glad you made it.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Yes. So, okay, Steve, first of all, you have an engineering degree from UC Santa Barbara. I know UC Santa Barbara. I've spent a lot of time surfing up in those areas and in California. How in the world did you ever get anything done in UC Santa Barbara? It's so beautiful.
It is a challenge, especially with the campus being right there on the edge of the Pacific. It's a really amazing location.
So where did you grow up? So I can get this in perspective.
Mostly in California, both Northern California and Southern California. And I've been now in Southern California since 1997.
So being on the water isn't a big stretch for you. You've grown up in California then.
Yeah, in fact, right now I'm only a couple miles from the Pacific and only 10 minutes from Marina del Rey, which is the biggest marina on the West Coast, and I think possibly the whole country.
So help me out here. How did you go? You have a 30-year history in the technology business, and it seems like you made a huge jump into the marine business. What happened? Tell me about your career in the technology industry.
I've been involved in 2 or 3 different previous technology companies, and they were always geared towards finding a solution or providing a new service which meets the need, which is not being filled and not being met by other companies. And as far as getting into the boat business, it's not really a big change for me, as I've been actually a boater and a sailor for most of my life. And it's always been in the background, and it's always been a personal interest. And I've actually been working on this boat project for over a decade.
Well, one thing I do applaud people that when they're in an industry, because I meet them every day, and they go, God, I'm miserable. And I'm not saying you were miserable at all, but they're scared to make that transition or that change. So in the technology business, were you an engineer, electrical engineer, or a computer engineer?
Yes, I've been working with as both a hardware designer and a software developer for most of my career. So those components have always been there. And now when you look at the marine industry or the auto industry or many industries, the electronics is becoming a very dominant part of that technology. So it suits my background very well to be working on electric boats.
Well, I got to tell you, and you just brought it out, an electric boat. You've taken these mammoth catamarans that are yachts, basically, and you've electrified them. You've taken out of the combustible engine, and you put in a battery and an electric engine, which nobody would have ever imagined this happening, because I wouldn't think that you would mix electronics and or batteries and water, especially salt water.
Well, the reality is actually that any boat, except for very tiny boats, any boat with an internal combustion engine is going to have batteries and an electrical system, because you need that to start the engine. You need that to power accessories like the lights and the radios and the instruments. So by building electric boats, we are not actually adding anything different to the boat. We're simply removing the outdated mechanical components, the internal combustion engines. So yeah,
it's not a big
really
stretch then.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else doing this piece of business with electric motors in boats?
There are companies that are starting to work on that in that product area and starting to develop designs. It's not quite as far along as it is in the automotive industry because with boats, it's a little bit more of a demanding application to be on a boat with electric power. And there is no real dominant established player in doing electric boats now. And so that's why I feel there's a very good window of opportunity for us to create a whole new generation of clean and quiet electric boats. And that's what we're pursuing.
And so we had a little more difficult time getting you on early, so we're kind of running out of time. I've got a small window. But real quick, tell me how people can learn about your product, where they can go online to see it. I believe you have a funding mechanism in place as well for people to get involved with because it's very cool technology, and I think you're on the cutting edge of this. So people are going to want to know more. How do they find you?
Well, we're easy to find on the web at Quad Marine, QUAD, marine.com. And as you mentioned, we have started an online fundraising campaign, and we're on startengine.com, which is one of the biggest online portals for online investments. So anybody who's interested in that aspect can go to startengine.com for complete information.
Okay, so when would we be able to see one of these boats on the ocean sailing?
Oh, we are targeting production for early in 2018, and that's why our focus now is on raising capital to finance the start of that production.
Fantastic.
If everything goes well with our campaign, we'll be starting in early 2018.
Well, there you have it. Steve Salani, CEO of Quad Marine. He's got the first yacht, the first catamaran electrical yacht is going to come out. You heard it, in 2018. Go look at quadmarine.com. We'll be right back with CEO Money. Thank you, Steve, for being part of the show. Be right back.
Thank you.